We unpack. We unpack. We unpack. Coming to you live. Boxing Ego unpack. Yeah. We unpack. We unpack. We unpack. Coming to you live.
Devin Haney hints that the game ain't quite the same without him, hints at a return. And Turkey also left a clue or a hint that he wants to work with Devin Haney, possibly in Saudi Arabia. That's what I want to talk about in this video, so you guys know what to do. Subscribe. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. So Devin Haney, he took to his social media. He says basically the game just isn't the same in his absence. As you guys know, 420, shout out to all the smokers that watch. I don't smoke, but hey, say you want some of this? Shout out to the smokers that be watching my channel. So 420 was definitely a smoke show. Devin Haney fought Ryan Garcia, and it was really a fight full of drama, if you will. And Devin Haney took some nasty spills. Eventually, because Ryan tested positive for ostarine, which is a banned substance, Ryan is claiming contamination. He said he brought people into his camp last minute, said it was a tainted substance, and therefore he says that he didn't intentionally ingest it or cheat. Devin Haney and the Haneyacks, they feel definitely that Ryan did it on purpose. Devin Haney, because of this, his initial loss, it was overturned to a win. Devin Haney, he says in a tweet, "The game ain't been the same. About time I come back." So he randomly just put this and posted this. The game ain't been the same. About time I come back. So maybe he's tired of being on the shelf and he's got enough time to regroup, get his mind right, and he wants to come back. Turkey on his verified account says, "Deliver the job, champ." Flex emoji, boxing with a heart. So right there's an indication of some interest from Turkey in wanting to work with Devin Haney. Devin Haney seen this and responded, and then he put the eye, the eye emoji with the hands. And this was in response to Turkey saying, "Deliver the job, champ." Turkey responded, "I am waiting for you in Riyadh," whatever that means. So the interpretation that a lot of people have is that Turkey is saying he wants you, I'm going back home to Saudi Arabia, the kingdom, and I want you to fight in Saudi Arabia. Devin Haney has previously expressed interest himself in wanting to go over there and do a fight in Saudi Arabia. Now, all is fine and well, nothing like shocking here. Devin has already expressed an interest in wanting to fight over there in the kingdom, and it looks like Turkey is embracing him. And Turkey did this post. He said he's not working with Tim Tszyu, ain't feeling Canelo, so he's pretty much not working with Canelo. And he did a post saying he's meeting with his team and they're not working with Tim Tszyu, not working with Canelo. However, one of the people that he said he does want to work with is Devin Haney. So this looks like potentially a match made in heaven, and it looks like doable business. Devin Haney also said, "For the love of the millions, ain't laying down." I feel this is kind of a weird comment, all things considered. For the love of the millions, ain't laying down. Now, we know money is a tool. Money is a necessitant for, just life. And you want to live the life that you're living. You got bills. Some people have families, etc. But I feel like this is weird. Like, let me just say it. I think Devin is spending too much time trying to emulate Floyd Mayweather. And for me, that imagery was shattered in the Ryan Garcia fight. Like the whole money and the flash and the pizzazz and the lavish life. So it's just kind of like, at this point, you've already lost. I understand it was overturned, so technically you're undefeated again, but I would probably find a new shtick. That's just my honest opinion. And acting like, you know, baby money Mayweather for the love of the millions ain't laying down. People in the comment section were absolutely going off on Devin Haney, saying, what do you mean you ain't laying down? Posting several pictures from the Ryan Garcia fight. They said, what you mean you ain't laying down? And they was posting pictures like this, where Ryan Garcia got this Muhammad Ali style, iconic looking photo, and Devin's on the canvas. So that was such an easy, basically like an easy setup for, you know, people were going to say stuff like that by leaving that comment. And it also makes you, I understand Devin's a celebrity, but it also makes you very unrelatable. You know what I mean? Because the middle class, the lower class, the average American, that's not their lifestyle, making millions and things like that. So it just doesn't make you, like, Ryan got money too. And I don't even really, I don't remember as many flex posts and Money Mayweather-ish posts from Ryan Garcia. And we know he's probably made more than Devin, to be honest, to be fair, because he got the fight with Tank. So a little bit weird, but I'm not gonna spend too much time. People could do whatever they want. I just find this tweet a little bit weird. For the love of the millions, ain't laying down. Like, what does that even mean? And are you saying you're in boxing for the money? And I understand being a prize fighter, you fight for a prize. Floyd already said it, but I just feel like, given this Ryan Garcia fight, that's not necessarily the attitude that people are expecting or necessarily want to hear. You got to understand, people, they have to feel your brand, you know, it has to resonate. Terrence Crawford just did a Riyadh season in America and it went double wood. It flopped. Crawford is an amazing fighter, great fighter, skilled fighter, but it doesn't seem and appear like he's connecting with the public. So Devin Haney, given the Ryan Garcia fight and how that played out, I feel like there's a lot of baggage there, and there's a lot of conversations, if you will, that are being had, and it doesn't necessarily paint Devin in the best of light. That's just being fair. On my channel, I started this channel from the ground up. Nobody told me to do it. Nobody was supporting me. I have family members or friends, or, you know, people weren't encouraging this move from me. I chose this path, and I'm so glad I did, right? So you have to understand, I've earned my spot in this game, best in the business, and it's not even close. And I noticed there's a lot of people who are essentially stifling their brand because of social media or through social media, where they got a good thing going, making some good career decisions, making great money, whatever. But this social media is making them unlikable. It's making them sound like whiners or crybabies or whatever the situation is for each individual. But that's something I definitely noticed, because Eric Morales and Marco Antonio Barrera, when they were fighting, there was no social media. So the fighters, they didn't have that to even rely on to sell their fight. And I don't even want to get started. The fighters of yesteryear, I think, are built different in terms of toughness. Like, some people were fighting to really feed their family, and they weren't even making as much as a lot of these fighters nowadays can make. You know, you can have a guy like Francis Ngannou who never boxed as a professional, and he's coming over making mega millions to fight Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury, and just because he has a name from another sport. So completely different game. But as far as Devin Haney and Turkey, I mean, Devin eventually has to come back unless he plans on retiring, and I don't think anyone expected an actual retirement, despite fans. I've seen fans say stuff like, oh, just retire. I mean, it doesn't make sense. He's young, he lost, it got overturned. Why would he retire? But I will say this: the Riyadh season has been kind of confusing, particularly here in America, because you have Turkey, who, you know, people who are pushing him and himself, guys like Eddie Hearn, they're saying, oh, Turkey just wants what's best for boxing. then why are the Sphere tickets with the UFC a Riyadh season production? They came out the gates, cheapest ticket $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, $7,000. Just you guys look it up. The UFC noches in the Sphere, the tickets they're expensive, right? If you're trying to fix boxing and see, people are telling me stuff, but it's not making sense to me. They're saying, oh, Turkey has an endless supply of money and he doesn't care about the loss. I disagree. I think at some point, like obviously some people have more money to play with, but any business, any billionaire, millionaire, they're not going to want to continually waste and lose large chunks of money. Now, like, let's say it's a political campaign. Let's say a politician invests a lot of money in their campaign. They're okay with losing the money or like spending the money for promotion and, you know, traveling, speaking engagements, blah, blah, blah. But no politician would want to spend so much of their own money, particularly on a campaign, and then not get elected. You see what I'm saying? So everybody in boxing, every business, there's some type of agenda. There's something that they want, and there's something that is needed through commerce in order for that thing to keep existing. Now, some people, maybe they mask it differently, but I do not believe that at all. Because again, why would the ticket give people like cheap tickets to the Sphere then? If you don't care about how much money you lose, you rented this big, you know, universal, state-of-the-art, brand new venue. Okay, so don't charge that much for tickets then. Why is Crawford Madrimov on pay-per-view? Put it on ESPN free TV. Why'd you put it on DAZN pay-per-view, ESPN pay-per-view, and Amazon Prime pay-per-view if you don't care how much money you lose and you don't need to recoup anything? So the message has been very clear, and I don't think it's been transparent, and I don't personally think that's a great way to come to America, lacking that transparency. I would prefer someone say, hey, yeah, we're a business, we're trying to make money, but we're trying to make great fights for you too, you know? So fast forward to this Devin Haney situation. Devin, he's gonna make whatever choice in his career him and his team decide, but he's coming off of a bad performance, even if it was overturned. And then Turkey said basically what Eddie Hearn said when he was saying DAZN had $1 billion war chest and they had so much endless money they were going to put everyone out of business, right? And what happened? What major fights did you do? What stamp did you do in America? And I think Turkey having that first fight with Crawford Madrimov and wasting all that money on Eminem and, you know, slashing the tickets and having to because they were price gouging, you know, having to come down on prices and tickets and stuff like that. I think that was a major reality check. And fast forward to the future, now he's talking about an American name fighting in Saudi Arabia. So again, when we come back to the mission and we come back to initial statements, you said Turkey and Riyadh season, they're going to put their stamp in America and they're like basically taking over America. So why would you put Devin Haney, an American brand, and put him in Saudi Arabia? What does that do for Devin's exposure? Like, for example, see, and I think people are trying to do something and trying to make something the standard. But if you look at history repeats itself, and you look at, let's say, a gold standard person, Floyd Mayweather and Manny Pacquiao, they fought right here in America, in Las Vegas, highest grossing fight ever. Floyd Mayweather, Conor McGregor, same deal. That's the #2 fight, and so on and so forth. So you look at in boxing, all these legendary live gate earning commercial success fights, how many of them happen outside of America? That's a real question. If you look at so I'm talking Canelo Golovkin, Holyfield Tyson, Holyfield Lennox Lewis, Wilder Fury. None of these fights took place in Saudi Arabia. They all took place in America. You know, I believe Lennox Lewis and Mike Tyson fought in Memphis, right? So I'm old school. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. So to take a name, somebody who has been branded, someone who was undisputed in a previous division, like Devin Haney, and remove or pluck him from America to have him fight in Saudi Arabia and not even adjust the times, because if you look at these Saudi shows like with Wilder and AJ, I live in California, Pacific Standard Time. These bouts are coming on at 11 in the morning for me. You know, I mean, as far as the undercard, main event, maybe 2:30, 3, right? 3 p.m. This is not prime time in America. So they're not inconveniencing the kingdom by putting it at a certain time on the next day or whatnot to accommodate. And I just don't see this as being a winning formula for most American fighters. Now, an American fighter that just wants to get a bag and get, you know, overpaid more than their potential market value, maybe you take that. But as far as like longevity and building a star, I don't see it. Furthermore, Devin Haney, particularly coming off of that performance with Ryan Garcia, who does he fight? He's no longer a champion. He's a champion in recess. So likely he's not fighting Sandor Martin, because if he wanted to, then they had a purse bid. Why didn't you, Top Rank won the purse bid, so why didn't you just see that through? So I really don't even know who Devin Haney at this point will even fight, right? Ryan Garcia suspended for a year, and Devin has been hit or miss about even wanting to rematch Ryan Garcia. One minute he says he doesn't want to do it. The next minute he says that he wants the rematch. Either way, Ryan's suspended, right? Do you move up to 47? Because if you look at Devin Haney's recent appearances, he definitely looks bigger walking around weight than 140 pounds. So a lot of questions here. And I'm just wondering what the real agenda is and the end game for some of these Riyadh season fights. You said you're going to take over America, basically, but then now it sounds like you're alluding to Devin fighting in Saudi Arabia. And if you're trying to uplift and build stars, I just haven't seen that to be the way. Like, look at Wilder. Wilder did 2 fights with Riyadh season. Did his star power go up by fighting Joseph Parker or Zelle Zhang? Absolutely not. He just lost both fights, won by knockout. At least getting knocked out by Tyson Fury, he was a known name, who beat Klitschko, and he's a big dude. So losing to him, you had some great rounds with him and a great trilogy. But to lose to Zelle Zhang, what is that? That hurts Wilder even more, because outside of hardcore boxing fans, they don't even know who that is. Just like Crawford versus Madrimov. This is the same setup. Crawford won, but he didn't win so impressively like he had in previous divisions. And a guy with 11 fights, I don't see the star build. I don't see how that really helps you. Hardcore boxing fans, okay, cool. They'll be like, all right, Madrimov, he can fight pretty good. But you're not going to pull in casuals, which at this point, almost age 37, is kind of what Crawford needs. We know he can fight, so I think Crawford needs more of the fanfare, and he needs more of the support. So I really don't even see the mission. I don't know who Devin Haney will even fight. I don't know what weight class he'll fight. And I think putting him in Saudi Arabia is kind of a mistake, just based on the fact of coming off a loss and then having it overturned, a lot of criticism, and then you just put him in Saudi Arabia in America at a time, the fight would air at a time where it's not opportune. I just don't see what the I don't see that, especially. And here's the thing too, is if I'm being realistic, that Ryan Garcia fight, we don't know how Devin Haney will even choose to fight, because the fight played out so bad. So we don't know what that's done to him mentally and things like that. So in my opinion, I told you he should take a year off. He's talking about coming back. I mean, so be it. Him and his team can make that decision on when they feel he should come back. But in my honest opinion, again, it seems like you would want to test the waters and make sure your fighter is good and not put him in too tough. So what type of match can you put Devin Haney in that kind of makes sense, given you fought a guy who had a banned substance and then he slaughtered you in the round despite it being overturned? You still went through this, what you see on the screen. You still went through the punishment. You still took those punches. So coming off of that, it seems like matchmaking would be imperative, because if you put him in too tough, you could end up worsening it for your fighter. I've seen it. I've seen where fighters came back too quick or they didn't look the same after. Look at Mildred Taylor. Look at Bermain Stavern after the first Wilder fight. You know, sometimes you have these fights and it becomes increasingly dangerous. So Devin Haney potentially coming back too quick. And again, it seems like a tune-up would be in order based on how this fight looked. You could say Ryan's a cheat and Ryan's this and racist and all that. It doesn't change that he put pause on Devin Haney and Devin was getting hurt in there. Like none of that. See, some of you guys in boxing are too emotional. You don't want to go off the facts. You want to go off of there's a lot of people who outside of the ring, you wouldn't want to hang out with them. That's boxing. There's a lot of people like that they could be nasty characters or people you wouldn't want to have babysit your kids, but that has zero to do if they could fight or not. You know, Sergey Kovalev was a person where a lot of people, including myself, believe there's a great chance he's racist based on some of the things he did. He seemed like a nasty and mean person, and he was getting, you know, court cases and women saying he did certain things. Doesn't change that in his prime he could fight. You dig? So the Ryan Garcia fight, Devin Haney fight, was very taxing, and I think a tune-up is in order. I don't think they should match Devin too tough, and in doing that, you put him in with a tune-up fight and put it in Saudi Arabia. I don't even know what that is supposed to do in terms of like the star build, and I guess that's my question. So let me know what you guys think. A lot to go over and a lot to talk about. Devin Haney, you know, who do you want to see him fight? And finally, I gotta say this, because it's my duty, it's my civic duty to keep it real in this boxing game. I don't want to hear about Devin Haney and Tank or Shakur Stevenson and Tank if they both go run to Turkey. Period. And a lot of people, they don't have the cojones to say what I say because they're butt kissers, whatever their situation is. Here's why. I listen to Devin Haney fans, the Haneyacks, and Shakur Stevenson fans, and Shakur, Devin, their teams, constantly mention a fight with Gervonta Davis. Oh, we want to fight him, blah, blah, blah. But I also believe that if you truly want to fight somebody and he's the A side and you know he holds all the cards, instead of teaming up with PBC, why would you go in a completely different direction and then be mad when you don't get the fight and say, oh, he's ducking me and stuff like that? That doesn't make sense when we're dealing with free agents. Now, if you're tied up contractually, it is what it is. But it doesn't make sense to me to be calling for a Tank fight, but then you refuse to go where the action is at. Like, if I need groceries, I go to a grocery store. I don't go to Best Buy looking for groceries. So to me, I think it moves you further from the Tank fight for obvious reasons. And again, if you want groceries, you're like, man, I need some bacon, I need some lettuce, I need some sourdough bread, blah, blah, blah. I need some seasoning. You don't go to Best Buy for that. So you're actively choosing pretty much a money route and getting overpaid and content with that to fight whoever on these Riyadh season cards fine, fair play. If that's what you and your team elect is the best decision, so be it. But you can't have it both ways. You can't actively be like, oh, why won't Tank do this? Tank already told Turkey. He said, give me 2 Ferraris if you want to even talk to me and have a negotiation. Turkey refused. He said no. He said, I'll give you 2 pair of gloves. That's about it. So you can't have it both ways. In my honest, humble opinion, if you really want something, plus you don't have the leverage, you're bound by those terms and you should go where the action's at. If you want Tank and you know he's making all the moves and making all the money, he's the one that's undefeated. I mean, Shakur is undefeated too, but he's also coming off performances where he was at home and people were walking out of his show earlier. Devin Haney's undefeated, but he's coming off the Ryan Garcia, what we already watched, which is basically you're undefeated on a technicality. And because Ryan tested positive, which is a technicality, right? So Tank is the man. He holds the cards. I don't want to hear about fighters who are making decisions to actively, not as free agents, like Devin. He's done business with Eddie Hearn, went to Bob Arum for 3 fights, Kambosos, Lomachenko. Then he went back to Eddie Hearn for Regis Prograis. Then he teamed up with Golden Boy for Ryan Garcia. We have yet to see Devin Haney team up with Al Heyman and PBC. So one of Al Heyman and PBC's top 2 fighters is Gervonta Davis. The other one is Canelo. So I don't care what none of y'all talking about. That doesn't make sense. You go where the action's at. And if you choose not to, that's on you. Don't cry when you don't get the fight. Deuces.